Oh, what is up, guys? This is your review. This is my match day review for the Ipswich Town versus Manchester United game yesterday. So it finished Ipswich Town 1, Manchester United 1 in Reuben Amorim's first game in charge. I think we played okay yesterday. I don't feel like we played horrendously bad. I think, you know, in general, we were pretty good. I mean, that Ipswich goal was incredible. I mean, yeah, you have to say it was unlucky for Nusaya as well. We obviously kind of deflected in off of his head, and there was no way that Andre Onana was going to keep that out. But I think in general, I think Andre Onana was man of the match yesterday. Some of the saves that he made in that game yesterday was incredible. The thing is with Andre Onana is I feel like he's not the sort of player who puts in consistently good performances. I think with Manchester United, there's only a select few players who I would say consistently put in good performances. Nusaya Mazraoui is one of those players that I think consistently puts in good performances for us. He's a very solid player. I think he's been one of my favourite signings for Manchester United this season. I think we made a good decision in signing, someone like Nusaya Mazraoui. I think, that was a good bit of business, bringing him into Manchester United. I've also been quite impressed with Mathis de Ligt. I think he's been pretty solid since he joined us. I think he's not been, terribly bad, but I think he's been, decent for the most part. Then you've got to look at, you've also got to look at, these performances. It's just, like, with Manchester United, it's frustrating because you want to see Manchester United putting in consistently good performances, but it doesn't feel like we've done that for a long time. There are a lot of players I think need to go. So the first player that I think needs to leave United is Anthony. I think Anthony, to me, I just never rated him. I think, when you think back to how he played at Ajax, he looked solid at Ajax, and I think when United signed him, I think, we United fans all thought that we were getting a very special player, that we were getting some, a very talented player, a player that would have a really positive effect on the team. But I think that Anthony's performances haven't been, what you would say positive. Like they were, he hasn't had that positive impact on the team. He's become a bit of a meme, I should say. He's just not the sort of player that we need in the team. Like, I don't even want him to go out on loan. I want him to be sold, permanently, because he's just finished at United. Like, he's not a player that I want in the United team anymore. So the second one is Luke Shaw. Now, Luke Shaw obviously returned yesterday after being out on the sidelines for 9 months. Like, I feel like Luke Shaw the last few seasons haven't been easy for him. Like, he's just been picking up too many. I think, it's been hard for him to put in consistent performances because of the fact that he's been consistently picking up injuries, and I think that has been a major problem for us, as players like Luke Shaw, are becoming or have become very prone to getting injured, and I think we don't need a player like Luke Shaw in the team who is constantly picking up injuries, so often. It's a big part. I mean, I don't even think he should, I think he should be thinking about retiring the way that things are going at the moment. With the fact that he's picking up these consistent injuries, so often it feels like the right time for him to call it a day. The next player I'd like to see go is Casemiro. Like, Casemiro, he doesn't impress me. Christian Eriksen, he's not too bad. But Casemiro he's not the sort of player that belongs in the United team anymore. I think he should have been sold over the summer. It's hard to see Casemiro being a player who will still be a United player next season. I honestly don't think that he will still be a United player next season. I think he'll be gone, in the summer. I think Reuben is going to get rid of a lot of players. I feel that that's what he's going to do. I think he's going to get rid of a lot of players. Maybe Marcus Rashford will be on the chopping block. Who knows? Maybe Joshua Xerxes is a player that we see go. I mean, I don't even think we signed Joshua Xerxes permanently, did we? I think we only signed Joshua Xerxes on loan. Obviously, can't wait to see Lenny Yoro. Obviously, we didn't see him against Ipswich, but maybe we'll see him this weekend or maybe next weekend. We'll see him, obviously, hopefully, but it shouldn't be too far off of making a return to competitive action. I don't even know if Lenny Yoro has actually completed a full training session yet with United. I'm assuming he has. But I don't know for sure. I hope, I think that, I've been really excited to see what Lenny Yoro can do in the Premier League. I think he could be a decent player. I felt sorry for him over, during the pre-season, the fact that he only literally played, I think, one game for us and ended up being injured, and ended up, 2 games and ended up getting injured. It was so unfortunate, and, things like that do happen, you can't always, things like that are very unpredictable. We didn't know that he was going to play 2 games and get injured and, miss, the first few months of the Premier League season, which unfortunately he has. He was he's been sidelined for quite a while, and, it'll be exciting to see what he can do, but I just feel like if we'd had players like Rasmus Højlund and Lenny Yoro fit for the start of the season, things maybe would have been a little bit different, but, that was the problem. It's that, players like Lenny Yoro and Rasmus Højlund weren't fit for the start of the season, they missed the first few games. And it was a little bit frustrating, but it is what it is. That game against Ipswich yesterday, it was a very evenly matched game. I think Ipswich, I still can't believe that Ipswich Town have taken 3 points off of Spurs and they're taking 2 points off of us, either side of the international break. I think that, Ipswich can really see, the Ipswich Town fans can really see that as a positive. So there's one player that really impresses me with Ipswich Town. One of the players that really impresses me in there Amari Hutchinson is brilliant. But one of the players I think I really like in the Ipswich Town team is Sammy Smodits. He's been, probably one of their best players this season, Sammy Smodits. I think, if he was to leave Ipswich, it would be a huge loss for them because he's such a great player. He's one of the best players in the Ipswich Town team in general. Amari Hutchinson is a brilliant player, Ipswich have got some decent players in their team, I'm not gonna lie. I have been impressed with some of the players I've seen for Ipswich, like Cameron Burge, I think Cameron Burge is his name, Connor Chaplin, as I mentioned, Amari Hutchinson and Sammy Smodits. Again, 2 players that seem to really be having a positive impact at Ipswich. Ipswich Town, to be honest, I'll be sad if they go down this season, but I was hoping they would stay up. I was kind of hoping that they would prove a lot of people wrong and actually stay up in the Premier League this season, but it doesn't feel like they're going to do that, to be honest. I'm not saying I don't think Ipswich have the strength or have the ability to stay up, but if they were to stay up, they need to start picking up a lot of wins between now and May. To be honest with you, it's like we are only in November, aren't we? So a lot can change I feel like a lot can change between now and May. It's just obviously we're seeing the front 3, the bottom 3. You can't automatically predict that that's going to be the fact that's going to be the three that are in the relegation zone at the bottom, at the end of the season. For all we know, Ipswich was actually really kind of turn things on after Christmas, and it could actually, somehow, somehow, do a miracle, make a miracle and stay up. But, it would be some miracle. I think it would be some miracle if they did manage to stay up. Obviously, we'll see what happens, after Christmas. Hopefully things start picking up for them. But I think, it's been great. It has been great seeing them back in the top flight of English football this season. But I think United yesterday. Let's not start jumping on the things that are gonna go down the pan on the Reuben bandwagon. Because I think yesterday was only the first game of Reuben Amorim's tenure at United. There's a long way to go. A lot of work. There's a lot of work he has a lot of work to do. We're not just going to turn things around after one game. There's not just going to be some massive transformation after one game. It's going to take time for things to really change at United. It's going to take time for Reuben Amorim to really start getting United playing positive football again. It's going to take a little bit of time for things to really change in a positive way. And I think as long as Reuben Amorim is given that time and is given a fair chance and is given a decent amount of time to show what he can do, I don't have a problem. But I fear that Reuben Amorim will end up being another one of these managers who was sacked after only 2.5 seasons at the club. A bit like managers like Louis van Gaal, Erik ten Hag, Jose Mourinho. None of the managers that we've had since Sir Alex Ferguson have actually managed to survive more than 3 seasons in the Premier League. And that's actually embarrassing to think about. The fact that we've not had a single manager survive more than 3 seasons in the Premier League before they were ultimately sacked. And we've not had any managers resign, but every manager that we've had since Sir Alex Ferguson has ended up getting sacked. Because they just weren't good enough. But the problem is, I look at the team and I just think, it's not the manager that's the problem, it's the players. The manager, I don't think there is any manager that realistically could do anything with that sort of players. It was just, this has been the problem for a lot of the managers we've had. It's the sort of players that they had to work with. David Moyes, sort that he had, he should have been able to do something pretty good with the team that he had, because obviously we still had Rooney, we still had Van Persie, we still had Ryan Giggs. Ryan Giggs was, getting on a bit at the time. Ferdinand, Vidic, Evra, they were, in their prime at the time as well. We still had Nani, we still had Welbeck. We still had a lot of big players at the time, but David Moyes wasn't able to do anything with those players. And we finished 7th in the league, ultimately. Well, 7th in the league, and it's just embarrassing, and again, it was you look at the squad that Mourinho had to work with, that obviously Mourinho had, that Van Gaal had to work with, Mourinho had to work with. It was just mad. And obviously you look at the squad that Erik ten Hag has had to work with, it was just not as solid. There was no solid players in that team. The team that we, the squad of players that we have, for me, is not a squad of players that can go out there and win a Premier League and challenge for a Premier League title or challenge for a Champions League trophy. It doesn't matter what manager we have. They will never be able to do anything with that squad of players. That squad of players, no matter what manager we have, they will not be able to do anything. That squad of players just isn't good enough. That squad of players is an absolute joke. There's only a few select players that I'm actually rating. Garnacho has been brilliant. Hobie Mainu has been brilliant. you know, Amad Diallo has been brilliant. Nuzem as well, we've not been too bad. Bruno's not been too bad. Rashford, has really fallen away a little bit, United. I think he's a player I think that realistically needs to go. Suffice to say. I mean, I'm not trying to, beat around the bush with this, but I think the problem with United, I think, I look at players like Johnny Evans. That guy, Johnny Evans, is bloody incompetent. Why did we even bring him back? He's a player that needs to be thinking about retiring. Bloody Johnny Evans, right? The guy's a donkey, man. Seriously, Harry Maguire, why is he still at United? I mean, is Victor Lindelof still at United? I don't think I've seen him playing this season. That's what the players, no matter what manager we have, that's what the players will never be good enough to win a Premier League title or at least a Champions League trophy even. Yeah, it's a squad of players that's good enough to win an FA Cup. It's a squad of players that's good enough to win a Carabao Cup. But it's not a squad of players that is good enough to win a Europa League. Not a squad of players that is good enough to win a Champions League or a Premier League trophy. And that is what we need. It's a squad of players that is good enough to be challenging for the Premier League title, and is good enough to be challenging for a Champions League trophy. I'm excited because I think things could improve under Reuben Amorim. I think hopefully things will improve. Hopefully things will get better, and hopefully there's plenty of positive times ahead for us under the kind of reign under the guidance of Reuben Amorim. But there's a long way to go. And there's a lot of work to do with this team. There's a lot of work to do with those players. Well, I was impressed with the fact that we managed to score within the first 5 minutes of the game yesterday. I feel like that's the quickest goal we've actually scored this season. I was impressed with that, because it's like the quickest goal we've scored this season. Absolutely incredible to score within the first 2 minutes of the game. Which is, by basically the quickest goal we've scored this season. We've not scored a goal, quicker than that one this season. Rashford within 2 minutes. And that's what we need to see. We need to see more quick goals like that, But again, I think, the players need time to get used to Reuben Amorim's style of play in the way that, because obviously, I feel like that, obviously the players are very used to Eric Ten Hag's style of play, and they haven't gotten used to Reuben Amorim's style of play yet, and I think they need, they need time to adjust and get used to, to his style of play, and, so we'll see what happens. But we'll see, the next 6 months I think are going to be very interesting between now and the end of the season. Hopefully we get back up there. Hopefully we get back up towards the top 6 this season. Hopefully we've been able to do that. But it's going to take a lot of work to get us back up to the top 6 this season. It is going to take a lot of work. But I believe we can do that. I believe we can do it. I believe we can get back up to the top 6. I believe that Reuben Amorim can get us there. We're not that far off of top 6. We can do it. If we put in, he put in consistently good performances, and we've got players coming back from injury as well, which is which will be a boost for us as well. Is we have had players out injured, and that's affected us a little bit, but we've got players coming back from injury, which would help a little bit. I'm not saying that I think that Luke Shaw returning from injury will have a massive impact, nor do I think that Mason Mount coming back from injury will have a massive impact. as those players didn't exactly have a massive impact before they went off injured. Before they went out injured. Mason Mount. Where did we ever sign Mason Mount? I mean, he hadn't exactly done anything of note at Chelsea the season before we signed him. So it made that's one of those signings that we've made, over the years that don't make sense. I mean, we've made a lot of signings over the years that haven't really made any sense. Anthony, Mason Mount are two players that really come to mind. Paul Pogba was a signing that didn't make sense. It's in a way that was a signing that did make a lot of sense. But yeah, great result yesterday for United against Ipswich. Not a bad result. At least we didn't lose the game. At least Reuben Amorims can say he didn't lose his first game. We can take some positives from that draw yesterday. So I hope you enjoyed this video and this match day review, and I'll see you for another one very soon. Bye bye.